Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Diaries channel. That night felt different, like there was something in the air, something that couldn't be explained, but was very much felt. Thousands, even millions of hearts were waiting, and suddenly, the notification appeared. Jikook Live, Jungkook and Jimin, two names that, when put together, create a deep, warm, and indescribable ocean of emotions. This time, it wasn't just an ordinary live. Not just smiles, laughter, or sweet greetings to ARMY. This time, their live brought something bigger. Something that millions of fans around the world had longed for, awaited, and secretly hoped for. Jikook is back. And they're back with overflowing love, with a different aura, with body language that can't be lied to. As they sat together in front of the camera, it didn't take long for sensitive hearts to catch the vibrations. The vibrations that were there, then disappeared for a moment, and now they're back stronger, deeper, and more honest than ever. Jimin smiled, then looked at Jungkook with a look of sincerity in his eyes. Jungkook chuckled, as if he knew the moment was too beautiful to describe in words. They shared stories about songs, about life, about old memories. But more than that, they shared warmth. Every little touch, quick glance, or sudden smile, all spoke the truth. Love doesn't need to be announced. Love is felt. In one unforgettable moment, Jimin spontaneously sang a verse of a love song. Jungkook looked at him, and instead of teasing him like he usually did, he let him sing, as if not wanting to disturb the beauty that was being created. And when Jimin finished, Jungkook's calm voice said softly, "Your voice always calms me down." Jimin laughed shyly, then looked down. But in that moment, the entire fandom knew. They knew this wasn't just a joke. This was real. ARMY flooded the comments with heart emojis, happy tears, and words of longing. Everyone realized this live wasn't just entertainment. It was a confession, in a way that only two people who were and perhaps still are in love could understand. Over the years, Jikook's relationship has been an enigma. There were times when they were so close, so inseparable. Then, there were times when they seemed distant. But love, true love, always finds its way back. And that night, it was there, bright and clear, unhidden. Jungkook, in his quiet but intense way, kept his eyes on Jimin. He even adjusted Jimin's microphone, touched his hand gently, and occasionally stole glances. Jimin, on the other hand, looked so comfortable, as if he was in the safest place in the world next to Jungkook. Many fans cried while watching this live. Some even said it was like watching a love story that had been written in secret, finally being read out in public. With small gestures, with honest smiles, and with meaningful silences, Jikook conveyed something that couldn't be said with words. They didn't have to say, "I love you" out loud, because every second of the live was proof of love. Even when they were just sitting still, looking at each other, and laughing for no reason, that was true love. Love that grew in togetherness, in silence, in mutual understanding that didn't need to be explained. Live and fall in love. That was what everyone who watched felt. Because through this live, it wasn't just Jimin and Jungkook who fell in love with each other again, but the whole world fell in love with them. In their story, in the way they loved sincerely, even though secretly. And when the live ended, it felt like everyone still wanted to stay, not wanting to close the screen. Because behind the silence after the live ended, the hearts of those watching were still beating hard, still filled with a warmth that was hard to explain. Jikook is back. Not just as two BTS members who love each other, but as two souls who may have been lost, and now found their way home to each other. They don't need to explain anything, because in silence they've said a lot. Because in that live we all witnessed, they fell in love again. And for all of us who believe in love that is silent but real, love that is soft but strong, love that grows from true friendship, that night will always live in our memories. A live that not only entertained, but healed, reminded us that true love never really goes away. That's why that night we all live and fall in love with them, with that love, with Jikook. After the live ended, the world was no longer the same. Social media exploded. The hashtags #JikookLive, #Jikook is back, Hashtag Jimin and Jungkook topped the trending lists in more than 30 countries. Not because they gave an explicit confession, but because their love didn't need confirmation, it was enough to be witnessed. Fans started uploading clips of small moments that happened during the live. Jungkook's reflexive hand gesture patting Jimin's shoulder when he laughed. The way Jimin leaned his body slightly towards Jungkook when they heard the music played by the staff behind the camera. Even a second of silence, where they looked at each other without saying anything, became the most talked about moment. All of that was no coincidence. It was a language of love that only they could understand, and by hearts that had followed this story from the beginning. In the viral video clips, Jungkook was seen singing a few lines from the song, "Still With You," while glancing at Jimin. The lyrics talk about longing that never ends, about love that remains even though time continues to pass. Many are convinced that the song is a love letter, and when Jimin responded with Promise, a song full of warmth and longing, it was like the world stopped spinning. It was like time made room for two hearts to speak to each other with melody, not words. Fans who have followed Jungkook's story for a long time know that they are not your typical couple. They are two sides of the same coin. They can laugh together in front of the camera, but they can also sit in comfortable silence. Their love doesn't always have to be highlighted, but it's always felt. There were times when they drifted apart, maybe because of pressure, maybe because of their respective journeys. But they always came back, and each time they did, the love grew deeper, stronger. What makes Jungkook so special isn't just their physical closeness. It's the energy they radiate. There's an emotional connection that can't be faked. Even in that live, we could see how they read each other. When Jimin was a little nervous at first, Jungkook distracted him with a joke. When Jungkook was quiet for a long time thinking about an answer to a fan's question, Jimin stepped in with the right sentence, as if he knew what Jungkook needed. And perhaps most touchingly, they talked about the future. Jungkook said quietly, "A lot has changed, but there are things I want to keep." Jimin looked at him, then smiled faintly. "You know I'm always here, right?" he said. It was a simple statement, but to anyone who heard it, it was more than a statement, it was a promise. After the live, the ARMY community was filled with reflection and hope. Many wrote digital letters to Jungkook, expressing how happy they were to see the two together again. Some even shared how the live gave them hope for love, that even though the world changes, even though life isn't always easy, true love will always find its way home. Some fans made loving analyses. They compared old moments of Jungkook from years past to what happened on the live. And from every video, every photo, every moment, it was clear that their love wasn't a fleeting one. It was a love that grew, learned, and endured in silence. What made this story so precious was the fact that they weren't trying to sell their relationship. They weren't trying to create drama or seek attention. They were just themselves. And in that authenticity, something most beautiful was born, a relationship built on friendship, respect, and love. That night, their live became a space where they could breathe freely, be their true selves. No script, no boundaries, just two hearts speaking. And the world was witness. When the live was over, many said they felt like they had just watched a romantic movie. But this wasn't a movie. This was real. This was a reality that was more beautiful than fiction. Because true love isn't always full of drama. Sometimes, it just takes one look, one smile, one touch, and the whole world changes. Many fans said they felt like they were allowed to trust again. That true love is not only in the movies, but also lives in this world. Shown by two people who never realized, not explicitly, but always showing through attitude and actions. If you were among those who watched that live, then you witnessed a love story that grew behind the stage, behind the lights, and behind the words. A love that has gone through so much industry pressures, time, and personal growth, but has endured. And that night, love came to the surface, unstoppable. And for all of us who witnessed it, we know we weren't hallucinating. We were seeing love itself in its most honest and real form come to life before us. Through a look, through a laugh, through a live that changed everything. Jikook is back, and this love is overflowing. Thank you for watching and feeling every second with us. If your heart is shaking, if you feel like you are falling in love again, then you are not alone. All of us, together, are witnesses to a love story that never fades. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to continue to be with us in every moment full of love, touching stories, and all the wonders of Jimin and Jungkook's timeless relationship. Because one thing is for sure, Jikook is not just real. Jikook is eternal. See you in the next video.